All right. Hey, Tarika, we're going to start with the people in the room and then we'll go to Zoom. Whoever wants to start.
Hey, I've just got a real simple one. I'm curious, this is for either or both of you. What stands out the most about what AT is doing this year to you guys, whether it's or off the floor, whatever comes to mind, what sticks out to you the most?
I think, there's so much you could say, but I think the most simple way to put it is like consistency. Like, it doesn't matter, what day, what night, like what game it is, like she brings the same every single time, if not even more. And just to be able to do that throughout an entire season kind of just speaks volume to the type of player she is and, how much work she's put in to get to that point. And just like how she's been able to just carry day in, day out. I think, watching as her teammate, it's incredible. And so, I think just her as an athlete, just her as an athlete and, just her as a person, just it really speaks volume to how she is.
Yeah. AT is easily the best player I've ever played with. And I think people will look at maybe when they do the comparisons for MVP, they just, put up points and stuff. But there's so much more that makes someone an MVP in my opinion. And it's she makes all of us better. I know whenever I've on the court, I want to be on the court with her because she makes me better. She challenges us every single day. She doesn't let any of us get complacent with where we are, with where the team is, none of that. And literally what you said is exactly the consistency every single night. She plays damn near 40 minutes a night and every single play she's playing 100%. I've never seen her take a possession off, whether that's offense, defense, if her shot's falling, if it's not, if she's in foul trouble, it's just consistent regardless of any of the outside circumstances. And I really admire that about her. Injuries and all, she just puts 100% in every single possession.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going to ask you some more questions about DeWanna. I know she's had some really big games this season, but what stood out to either or both of you?
I think just her leadership. She's, one of the vocal people on the team where, she's constantly directing and telling and just helping, especially younger ones out, like myself. So I think just her leadership and her experience has been able to teach me a lot. It's able to help me be a sponge and kind of soak in, what knowledge she has.
Yeah, damn, you keep taking my answer, but yeah, it should. I know I'm going for next time. But it really is her leadership. I've been, under her for the last 3 years now, and I think each season she's had to have a little bit of a different role because of the people around us. And I think this year, she's really had to score the ball for us every single night, and it's just she's rose to that occasion every single day. And I don't know. I just think it's selfless of her because, her position this year, at least the past few years, has been the 3. And she willingly, said, okay, I'm going to do what's best for the team and move to the 4, and I think it takes a lot to do that this deep in your career when you're, solidified at this position that you're at. And I know she's played the 4 before, but it's different banging with the 4s than it is, trying to get through screens. It's a lot more physical down there. And so I think it's just the selflessness of that and putting the team first, whatever that looks like, whether it's just trying to help us, lead us every single night, or whether it's, okay, she got to drop 30 tonight, or if it's, I got to guard BG, it's going to be something different, but she isn't selfish with, what she does for us.
And just, with the playoffs kind of around the corner, kind of that time of year where you end the regular season on a high note, the last 7-8 games of the regular season.
Got it.
I think the biggest thing that we've been trying to do is just get on the same page, feel more continuity within our offense and our defense. I think, I don't know if the outside public sees it, but we feel it definitely that more cohesive this last game. We felt a lot more on the same page and just like comfortable. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is just if we're all on the same page, then we can just play basketball and it's less thinking. You could just hoop. So I think that's the biggest thing, defensively especially, is just getting on the same page, making sure that, we're in the right coverages, we're rotating, we have each other's back. Because if our defense is good, then it really, really fuels our offense. I know that, especially early on in the season, we saw that our defense is getting us a lot of transition points, a lot of, just easier shots. So just trying to get that part back.
Anything on Zoom, Brendan or Tarika?
Hey, yeah, it's Tarika here. I've got a couple. Hey, ladies. Just really quick, I know that I want to say, at least for the last 2 months, the biggest thing that we've been hearing is everyone has to do a little bit more, push a little bit extra, with Breezy being out. Just want to, ask each of you, how do you feel, or what do you feel that you've learned about your limits? Like how much you can push yourself and what that extra thing is that you've been successfully able to do, to add that additional push for the team and to continue with that continuity that DJ just spoke about.
I would say for myself that I'm still just trying to continue to push myself, push my growth. So I don't see any limits in terms of that. But I think as a team, kind of going off what Nate was saying, just kind of be on the same page, taking out the minor things or the little tweaks with however many games we have left and really trying to just be cohesive with each other, whether that's on offense or defense. And so I think that's just kind of our main focus right now.
Yeah, for me, I would say just, I don't know if this is exactly answering your question, but I think for me this season, it's been kind of a focus of every single possession, like focusing on that possession. Sometimes I'll get in my head about what happened in the last possession or, earlier on in the game. And I think for me, that hasn't been like helpful to keep progressing throughout the game. So I think it's just focusing on the possession at hand. But being really locked in on that possession. Like sometimes I think we relax for a second for a possession because the previous possession took a lot out of us. But I think that's that next step is keep going until I need to call for a sub. Like go 110% the entire time I'm out there.
One more for me, for you, Liv. I can see that every game you're getting more and more comfortable, confident, aggressive. What do you think is playing to you being able to elevate yourself in that way? Is it teammates? Is it something that Coach White is saying? Is it just you looking through film? What is it that's pushing you to that next level that you're seeing when you look at the growth of your game?
I think it's a lot of combination of those. I think, coming off of All-Star break, I had talked to Coach White just on, what can I do this second half of the season just to be more consistent and to just, contribute more. And she named a few of that stuff and just being more aggressive, not being tentative, and, just kind of having that aggressive mentality coming out and keeping that. So those are things I try and keep in mind every game. On each possession, just trying to kind of maintain that focus. And so I think that's helped a lot. I still think there's areas where I can grow in and continue to expand in that way. But so far, that's just the mentality I've been trying to keep.
You have time for one more. So Brendan, did you have anything?
I'm okay. Tarika actually asked exactly what I wanted. So.
Okay, awesome. Anything else?
We're in sync, Brendan.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
On y'all.
Be right back. We're gonna start in the room and then we'll move to Zoom. Whoever wants to start.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just one real quick, easy question for me. I'm curious, has there been anything about AT this year that has either been a surprise or something that you didn't know about her before you started working with her on an every single day basis?
I don't know if I would say surprise because, I think AT's reputation precedes her, and not just the numbers that she can put up, but how hard she competes and plays, and how much of a competitor she is, how resilient she is. I would say the thing that I appreciate the most is just, outside of those obvious things, is her basketball IQ. I mean, she just knows and understands the game, and with how we want to play and wanted to play, having a player like her in the money spot essentially for us, it allows us to do things and allows us the versatility offensively, trusting and knowing that she's going to make the right play, she's going to make the right read. She's selfless. She understands when to take over and when to facilitate. And she just understands the options of everything that we want to do. And so, while I think that's one thing that you can't really understand until you work with it every day, but her basketball IQ is just, it's off the charts.
So when you were envisioning having her in that money spot and being able to really take advantage of her versatility, did you even still imagine that just the raw numbers that she's putting up, leading the league rebounds, leading the league in assists?
No.
Did you ever think she'd fit like quite to that point?
No, because initially I think when we envisioned it, we envisioned her, getting the ball on a ball reversal and sort of getting into next action, not always playing quote unquote point forward, bringing the ball down the floor and initiating offense, and then getting it on a ball reversal. Once it goes to one side, getting it on the backside, getting into other actions. I don't know that I ever envisioned outside of maybe drag screens in transition. Setting on-ball screens for her, setting pinaways for her to get the ball in those situations. I think I originally it was like, hey, we're going to put her in the middle of the floor and we're going to allow her to go to work. And now just seeing those things, her understanding of the game, seeing her ability to put people in spots. I mean, she has a point guard mentality. She's got a coach's mind. So being able to put her in those situations, I think, has allowed us to open up, our options a lot more.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach.
Hello.
How do you kind of approach a game like today where you look at the Mystics injury report and the whole starting front court is some degree of questionable? Like, how do you prepare for a team when those pieces are maybe in and maybe not?
I think the biggest thing is we have to just focus on what our priorities are on the defensive end of the floor. We certainly know that how we want to play as an identity. Being aggressive, being in passing lanes, being disruptive. And then we have to discuss, okay, well, if this person's playing, these are the adjustments that we'll make. This is the different way that we'll play this action. It's hard. It's hard when you're a coach trying to, I'm sure Eric, like his challenge of every day, just not knowing who can play and who can't, and what things you can run and what ones you can't. And for us, it's certainly, we have to be aware of the weapons that they have on the floor. But our tendencies and our defensive identity needs to stay the same. And we are continuing to improve on that in this latter part of the season. And we've got to come out and we've got to make a statement early defensively.
You talked about, making adjustments based on who's in and who's out. As you look at their film recently, as they're kind of reintegrating some of these folks back in, do they look like a lot different than you thought they looked when they were, really shorthanded, or do you think it's like not that big of an adjustment?
Oh, I think it's huge. I mean, they're a scary team. They've got multiple Olympians. They've got multiple players at all 5 positions, people who can stretch the floor, players who can finish inside, attack the rim, facilitate, make each other better. And oh, by the way, when they're healthy, they're the number 1 defensive team in the league. So there are all these things that make them a really scary team night in and night out. They've had a lot of unfortunate luck when it comes to injuries. So again, when you think about them reintegrating, I expect them when they're coming back to be at peak performance, because that's what opponents do. So for us, we've got to make sure, again, that we understand tendencies. We understand, what each player brings as an individual player and what we want to do team defensive wise collectively. And then offensively, we've got to be able to execute because they are a really talented defensive team. Their guards are quick, they're disruptive, they're in the passing lanes, they rebound the basketball incredibly well, they read off of one another incredibly well. So we have to really, our decision making, our timing, and our execution has to be great.
Hey, Coach. When I chatted with you a month ago in Connecticut, I asked you about the value you felt that you bring to the team. I'm curious this time if you can share your growth and what your growth process has been like in your first year as a coach, and where do you see yourself sort of finishing this year with the playoffs?
Yeah, I think for me, always growing in terms of leadership, right? In terms of being able to communicate clearly, being able to hear different perspectives, to implement different things, while at the same time understanding that those perspectives comes at various levels, right? And then you have to make a decision about the whole. So continuing, I think, to have a growth mindset from a leadership perspective, as well as on the floor. You're playing teams third and fourth time. We've got to be able to put in a wrinkle here or there, while understanding that we're still not exactly where we want to be. We might not be this year, right? Exactly where we want to be. So continuing to just look for the little nuances, little advantages that we can take, attempt to be able to communicate that clearly, and then go out and execute. I think the other area is just, overall, you develop trust throughout the season, right? Trust in players, and understanding what they're going to bring every single day, and situations that you can put them in. Can they play with multiple fouls? Can they not? Do they really need a blow? Do they not? Which situations and positions on the floor can we put them in? I think I'm better with that now than I was early. And I think our coaching staff is more comfortable and confident in our expectations of one another, our expectations of our team and players. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking, I saw Bree out there earlier today shoot around. It sounds like this is her first trip since the first time you guys have met her on the road. How is she coming along, and how important is it to kind of be able to have her around the team?
It's huge. She's just, you probably know, she's just a great human being. To have her energy around, to have her poise and her composure and her experience to talk to our young players, especially our young post players. She has such a great relationship with AT and DB, and so to be able to communicate from the bench and be sort of another like coach on the bench for us, and be able to communicate with them about what she sees, and they have a great respect for her. But more than anything, just her presence. It's nice to have her around, and it's nice to see her walking, and it's nice to see her face. And I think it just gives our team a lift and a boost.
Brendan and Tarika, anything?
Yeah, I think. Hi, Steph. I just got one quick one off of what you mentioned a few minutes ago about defense. I know we talked before the Chicago game about you were pretty honest as far as we got to be more connected and be more team oriented defensively. Just how did you feel your team responded to that now, having a chance to look at some film and look back on it?
I thought we were better. I thought we communicated at a higher level. I thought our activity level and awareness was better, and that allowed us to make up for some gaps or mistakes that we had. I think we need to be more consistent. It's not consistent. Some of that is minutes and how aggressively we're playing in those minutes, and some of that is execution and not falling asleep on the ball, off the ball, some of those things. So I think our consistency has to be better. I haven't been real happy with the start of games for us defensively. I think, in the last 10 games, teams have averaged like almost 54% in the first 5 minutes of the ball game. We're turning over a lot, but we're also allowing them to score a lot. So I'm really, want to emphasize how we start the game defensively, and making sure that our attention to detail is at an elite level.
Just I thought of another one there a second ago. I know you were asked about personnel with Washington. You're not sure who's in, who's out, but one who has been a mainstay is Brittany Sykes. In the year she's had, has been a pest as normal defensively. Yes. Just what have you made of Brittany Sykes and the breakout year she's had?
She's been great. I mean, certainly you've always known that she's had the capabilities, and she has played various roles on different teams. Right. But her aggressiveness to the rim, her ability to finish in traffic and finish with contact, the confidence with which she's shooting the three ball and the mid range. I mean, she's playing great basketball. She had an opportunity to, I think, find herself offensively again with the injuries that have happened to this team, and she's taken ownership of it. She's going to be a tough matchup, and likely not be able to guard her with just one person. So we've got to make sure that we're rotating in different players, giving her different looks. And at the end of the day, we just have to make her make tough shots, make tough contested shots without fouling. And when she does that, you live with it. And you're right, like and at the other end of the floor, I mean, it's one of the best things that she does. She's a pest defensively. She does a great job of getting into players. Obviously, leads the league in steals, and got to make sure that you're aware of where she is off the ball. So we've got our work cut out for us with her. But the tough thing about this team is that there are so many players that we have our work cut out with this for. So our team defense and our discipline is going to be big for us tonight.
Thank you.
Anything, Tarika?
Nope, Brandon said got it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate Like always.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I got a small problem.